There are three quarterbacks who are projected to be first-round picks in the 2026 NFL Draft. I've made videos about two of them, Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore. I can't just leave one out. Actually, Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson is, in my eyes, the most interesting prospect of the three. He's got high highs, he's got kinda low lows, and I genuinely don't know how well he will pan out at the next level. So while he may stay for one more year of college football, I think he should declare for the draft. And here's why. Per usual, before we dive into him as a prospect, let's take a look at how he got here. Coming out of Westview High School in Tennessee, Simpson was a 5-star composite recruit in the class of 2022. He was the third best quarterback behind Cade Klubnik and Connor Wigman, and was the second best prospect out of Tennessee behind Walter Nolan. He committed to Alabama well before his senior season of high school and has stayed with the Tide for his entire collegiate career. He had to wait his turn, being a backup quarterback for the first 3 seasons. In those seasons, he threw for 381 yards, no touchdowns and no picks, along with rushing for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. After a starting battle between him, redshirt sophomore Austin Mack, and true freshman Keelan Russell, Simpson was named the starter just weeks before the season. And as a redshirt junior, he combined for over 3,300 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. All of this is still counting as Simpson takes on Oklahoma in the college football playoff the night of this video being published. Simpson is currently a projected top 10 pick in the 2026 draft. Now that you get the gist of Ty Simpson, let's dive into the film. There's a lot to dive into with Simpson. I think this will be my longest detailed scouting report of the year. The first trait, or set of traits that I want to discuss, all revolve around Simpson's ability to play under pressure. And it's an odd start to this video because normally I discuss a player's top trait at the beginning of the scouting report, but this section holds both the best and the worst trait in Simpson's game. Let's look at Simpson's stats under pressure. In 2025, he completed 50.5% of his passes for 652 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Doesn't look too bad immediately, given that he's just outside the top 10 in completion percentage when under pressure. But then you look at the turnover-worthy plays. 6.7% of his under pressure dropbacks were turnover-worthy plays, which sits outside of the bottom 10 in college football. At the same time, he only threw 1 interception under pressure. Only 2 quarterbacks had none, Gunnar Stockton and Luke Altmaier, and 46 quarterbacks made this criteria of at least 100 dropbacks under pressure. So what makes Simpson not good here? Well, he's not turning the ball over, but he's throwing the ball erratically when he gets hit. He's sailing balls over receivers, just barely getting passes out of play. I'm kinda shocked the TWP number isn't higher. Here's one example against Florida State, where the pocket is collapsing slowly. His intended target was open here, but a hit from the blind side forced his pass to sail and float into dangerous waters. Fortunately, no defender was too close to the ball, and if he got this pass off just a half second sooner, this could have been a huge gain. But sometimes under pressure, he absolutely shows off. Take his pocket presence for example, which is the best trait that he holds. His ability to move around in the pocket and run away from pressure is among the best of any quarterback prospect in recent years, and we've seen some fantastic prospects. Simpson can also leave the pocket and get it done with his legs, triggering his escape at good rates and accelerating fast. His athleticism is actually pretty dang solid, and he uses it well when moving around in the pocket. On Alabama's final play of the Florida State loss, Simpson put together a great effort to try and get the first down. He jumps out of the way to dodge the first pass rusher, laterally gets away from the second, breaks a third, and is just about a half yard short. Great effort here, and good pocket presence. Now another issue with Simpson in the pocket though is that he often bails from clean pockets. He's talented on the run, don't get me wrong, but he shows a lot of arm talent when he throws from a clean pocket. Here's just one example. Yes, the defensive tackle slightly broke through, but instead of stepping up or using the blocker to his advantage, he leaves the pocket and then forces a throw to his check down that gets tipped. If we look back too, he had an open receiver down the middle of the field if he threw with good anticipation. Instead, he panicked and bailed too early. Overall, I think Simpson's work in the pocket is an overall work in progress because of how he throws under pressure. He's got potential here nonetheless. Speaking of potential, we now dive into Simpson's arm talent, which is currently average and has a high floor. His mechanics give him a good base, he has a good release point, a quick release for that matter, and is among the best quarterbacks in terms of releasing passes at different arm angles. We see this in a lot of his off-script playmaking, which I will discuss later. His ability to make throws on the run is also a plus in his game. When he rolls out right, he's able to generate zip and accuracy while throwing across his body. While he struggles to throw rolling out left or fading back in the pocket, he shows that off-platform aptitude when he rolls out right. But where this average bit comes from is in his accuracy. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm wowed by it. Of all Power 4 quarterbacks with 250 plus dropbacks, he was 28th of 63 signal callers in completion percentage, but 23rd in adjusted completion percentage. His receivers did struggle this year, as 26 of his pass attempts were dropped, and his offensive line was not as good as it normally is. He also had the 8th most total pressures generated, but was down in 21st in pressure to sack rate. But the general ball placement could be improved. Sometimes he'll leave passes behind the intended receiver when throwing down the middle. Sometimes he'll leave passes high when throwing into zone coverages. Sometimes he'll underthrow or overthrow deep balls, allowing the DB to catch up or the wide receiver to not even make a play. His intermediate accuracy is the best of his game, but he's even then rarely hitting the keyholes on these tosses. A lot of times the receiver has to stop and adjust and make a body catch because the ball is slightly behind the target. This brings us to his anticipation, which has room for improvement but isn't terrible. I think if he processes route breaks just a half second earlier, his anticipation could be top notch. At the same time, Simpson puts forth effort at putting passes where only the receiver can get it. You see that in this replay where he leaves it over the safety and in between two other defenders to connect with this receiver. This was a fantastic throw. As for the deep game, I'm concerned. His arm strength doesn't jump out of the house, although he'll make 50 plus air yard throws every once in a while. But I'm more concerned with his accuracy in the deep game because it is wildly inconsistent. He'll overthrow deep balls, underthrow deep balls, and it feels like he's laterally accurate, like if, let's say, the receiver was 5 yards downfield or 5 yards closer to the quarterback on the same line, it would be a perfect pass. Like this play, where if the safety had an extra step, this would have been picked. Clean pocket and everything. The receiver did slow down too, that was an issue, but if he didn't, I'm not sure the pass would have been accurate anyways. The stats back this up a bit. 66 Power 4 signal callers threw at least 25 deep balls in 2025. Simpson was 29th in big time play percentage, 37th in adjusted completion percentage, 45th in yards per attempt, and 38th in NFL passer rating. I feel like I've been too critical of Simpson so far in this video, so let's switch gears and talk about his reads and processing abilities. Let's divide this into two sections, pre-snap and post-snap. Pre-snap reads are where a lot of quarterbacks earn their spot as a starter. I think these are fine from Simpson, and actually continues to prove that he has a high floor. He can diagnose blitzes and read coverages before the snap, improvising if something changes or is necessary. You see this best when it comes to zone coverages, as Simpson will make great throws in soft spots in the zone, and it's clear that he was reading that target the entire route. Here's one example of that. He sees on the left side that the corner is playing a hard flat coverage and the safety isn't coming down early. There's a solid window for Simpson to make this throw, and he does immediately, connecting for a crucial touchdown. Then we get into post-snap processing, which is another positive in Simpson's game. His mental processing speed is very good, as he is one of the fastest processors in this class. He will run through his reads quickly, and he actually often avoids checkdowns. His top 5 receivers in terms of receptions this year were 4 wide receivers and a tight end. You often see Simpson hit his third read quickly because of this processing speed, and of the 3 quarterbacks in this draft, he forces passes to his first reads the least. Here's where I think Simpson wins as a prospect. His processing is better than some pros, and I'll say this for the last time of this film session, this is yet another reason why Simpson likely has the highest floor of any quarterback in this draft class. That idea continues when we discuss his IQ and decision making. On my final scouting report, I normally order my strengths and weaknesses where the most important ones are at the top of the list. My number one strength for Simpson is, quote-unquote, moves around in the pocket to dodge sacks and makes plays with his very solid pocket presence. Right behind that is, quote-unquote, manipulates defenders with ball fakes, eye fakes, and fake escapes. This is the most interesting strength of Simpson's game for me. You watch the back angle of some of his throws and you can tell he's a deceiving quarterback, which can be a nightmare for defenses sometimes. Here's one example where a stumble puts number 7 on Florida State off his footing on the receiver's whip route. The receiver was left open as a result, and it nearly turned into 6 points for the Tide. As previously mentioned, Simpson also doesn't force throws to his first read often, which improves his decision-making grade. But it's not perfect or even great. Statistically, you see he only has 5 interceptions and may feel impressed. But he also threw 15 turnover-worthy plays in the 2025 regular season, good for a TWP clip of 2.9%. That was 27th in the Power 4, well behind his first-round projected counterparts, and on the same level as Garrett Nussmeier, who many criticize for his decision-making, including myself. I'm not trying to bash Simpson's IQ here because it's really good. I just think the general turnover statistics are a bit misleading. And actually, to continue to promote his IQ and decision making, I have to discuss his off-script abilities. Because of his quick processing and smart decision making, he's been a successful improviser this season. Once he's put off his routine and forced out of the pocket, he returns his eyes downfield and quickly decides whether he should throw or run. Here's a play against Georgia where he did miss Ryan Williams initially, but he did want a different read and had to leave when it wasn't open. Once he left, he got Williams on a strike for a long gain. This play could have looked better, but good on Simpson to stay in it and get the big gain in the end. There's one more segment I want to discuss, and that is the vitals of Simpson's game. His medical report, his frame, his age, and his production. This section of his game falls a bit short because there is one downside and then nothing else that stands out. That one downside is his measurables. Simpson is listed at 6'2", which is in the 33rd percentile of quarterback prospects according to NFLDraftBuzz.com. And he is only 208 pounds, which is all the way down in the 11th percentile. Of the top 10 quarterbacks in the consensus big board rankings, he is the smallest quarterback at the top, competing with Duke's Darian Mensah, who is 6'3", 205 pounds. Outside of the frame, nothing else stands out, but it is not bad either. He had a big medical rumor come up toward the end of the regular season, but it seems like he's fine. He'll be 23 when the 2026 NFL draft season commences, and he only has 1 year of production, but it was a good one. I'm a little surprised he didn't finish in the top 10 of the Heisman voting. Psych, I'm not surprised because there's one more tale with his production. There was a front half of the season and a back half of the season. Both of them looked way different from each other. In the first 8 games of the season, he averaged 295 total yards and just under 3 total touchdowns per game. In the last 5 games, this being before Oklahoma, he averaged 221 total yards and just over 1 touchdown per game. On top of a 9% drop in completion percentage and 4 of his 5 picks being thrown in the back half, his production took a significant dip. So while that's a concern, I thought his production was still enough to be a positive. The dip in production is likely where these injury rumors come from. Well, that's the end of our film session on Simpson. So let's conclude our discussion. Simpson has a good, pro-ready skill set as he potentially ventures into the NFL. I'm impressed with his ability to process his reads quickly, make several kinds of throws, and I'm especially impressed with his mobility in the pocket and his ability to make plays on the run. His arm talent is not too impressive though, and his ability to perform under pressure needs some tooling. With that said, here's his draft graphic. I think he's ready for the NFL, so while there is a debate on whether he should go back to school for his last year of eligibility, I think he should go to the draft. And now that I have finished all these detailed scouting reports on the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft, I can boldly say that I think Ty Simpson is better than Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore. What do you think of Ty Simpson? Should he stay in college for 1 more year? Let me know in the comments below and go vote on my community poll on my YouTube page. Thank you for watching my detailed scouting report on Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson.